Welcome everybody. It's Bob and Fran again, your healthy aging advocates, authors, speakers, and proponents of a healthy eating lifestyle. Today is going to be a game changer for you. So today we're going to present a list of items that Fran mainly has developed that will enable you to easily transition to or recommit to a whole food plant-based diet. So let's jump right into it, Fran.
Good, thanks, Bob. First, we want to make it very clear that we are not medical professionals, and we suggest that you check with your doctor before making any dietary or exercise changes in your life.
Wouldn't it be nice if people like we did, we found a whole food plant-based doctor, an MD, who's been just great.
Right. So what we're going to do today is kind of like give you an outline of how you can transition to a whole food plant-based diet. Now, we may use the word vegan from time to time, but we're really talking about a whole food plant-based diet, a healthy diet. So first of all, you have to determine why you want to switch your diet. Do you want to do it because you want to reverse disease, prevent disease, or lose weight? Do you want to do it because you want to help to improve the environment? Or do you want to do it for animal welfare? Or a combination of all three? We chose to do it first for our health because we both had life-threatening illnesses that we were able to reverse with a whole food plant-based diet. Then over time, the idea of improving the environment and animal welfare came into play. So here's what we suggest you do. Look at this as a lifestyle change and an opportunity to experiment with new and nutritious foods rather than looking at it as some type of deprivation.
I do believe, too, that you really have to be dedicated to either totally transitioning, if you're brand new at it, or recommitting to it. But the commitment and intention are two key words. In fact, I would, if I were you, and we've done this with many things in our life, actually write down your commitment. Write it on sticky notes and stick them around the house, or maybe on some kind of a board that you may have.
And on your refrigerator.
Oh, that's always a good one. But state what your commitment is, and that will help make you stay on the wagon, so to speak.
First of all, determine how you want to do this. If you have a health issue, we would suggest you do it 100%. If you're doing it for other reasons, you could do it gradually. You could try it for 45 days, however you want to do it. But like with us, because of health issues, we jumped right in 100%, and it made a world of difference. So, like Bob said, make your commitment, write it down, and then let's get started. The first thing that I suggest that you do is educate yourself. There's a lot of wonderful books out there that can help you to determine what needs to be done. And I want to share our very favorite with you.
And by the way, we'll have links to these books or directions on how to get these books in the description below.
So just listen now, and then you can write it down later. First of all, the China study by T. Colin Campbell. This changed our lives forever. It's really an excellent compilation of study around the world, especially in China, and how diet changed people's lives forever. Another one, Forks Over Knives. It's a very good book to read. I love the name of this one, How Not to Die by Michael Greger. Now let me tell you something about Michael Greger. He's a doctor who has devoted his whole life to research. So he's not just making things up. He's not a TV doctor that's trying to sell vitamins or something. He is the real deal. Right. And the last one, this is kind of interesting because when we switched to a whole food plant-based doctor, this was the first homework assignment he gave us to read Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease by Caldwell Esselstyn. Now, neither of us has ever had a heart problem. We thought we were eating really healthy, but then when we read this book, we realized that we were eating an awful lot of oil. And oil is really just empty calories that don't have much value to them. So we stopped the oil for salads and cooking, and we each lost 10 pounds, even though we didn't have to, because the oil was just really, really condensed calories.
Another way you could educate yourself is to watch some documentary films.
Right.
And we have a few of our favorites. The first one, I think, and the one that really resonated with me was Forks Over Knives.
Yeah,
the
that was an
documentary.
early one, right?
Yeah. You can get that online. And the next one would be What the Health. Maybe our all-time favorite.
Yeah.
We've actually shown to What the Health, the movie, in many workshops and seminars that we've done. The third one is called Game Changers. That's more about how athletes improve their productivity, their speed, their power, just by going to a whole food plant-based diet. And finally, there was a new one that came out just a month ago called Vegan 2020, and that is produced by the Plant-Based News People. It is a 51-minute documentary, but it is just fantastic, so I would try to catch it if I were you.
Right. Now, when we started on a whole food plant-based diet about 15 years ago, there weren't a lot of resources available on recipes. But
Yeah.
now anything you want is available, either in cookbooks or online. What I suggest you do is find your favorite recipes and veganize them by going online and finding out how how that recipe that you love can be changed to be healthier.
Wait a minute. What
Yeah.
is veganize?
Okay.
That's a new word.
Okay. That means taking the animal products out of the dishes that you used to love to make before you went on a whole food plant-based diet.
Who wants to eat animals anyway?
So, here's what we suggest you do. Our first suggestion is to do a pantry and refrigerator makeover. In other words, go through your pantry and your refrigerator and take out everything that is unhealthy. That would be meat, chicken, fish, eggs, and all dairy products.
What about a freezer? Freezer too, I think, if
Absolutely.
you've got a freezer.
The
Same
refrigerator has the freezer.
Or if you have a separate
in the
freezer.
pantry.
Yeah.
And give away these foods, okay? Don't wait until you've finished using them to switch to a whole food plant-based diet, because I will tell you that by the time you finish using them, you will have given up on the idea of changing your diet. So give them to a food pantry or whatever and start eating healthy.
Yeah.
So the next thing you've got to do, and this is, let me tell you, when you first go on a whole food plant-based diet, it takes time to know which foods are the best for you. So you have to start by reading labels. This is just a generic from a supermarket. This is called extra virgin olive oil spray, okay? And a lot of recipes say to spray the pan liberally so food won't stick. The neat thing about this is it says 0 fat. Do you know why it says 0 fat? I got to read this to you. This is crazy. 0 fat in 1/4 second spray. 1/4 of a second. So if you spray for a few seconds, you've got, the only thing in his can is oil. But they can get away with saying it's oil-free if you spray for only 1/4 of a second, which nobody does. So you've got to learn to read labels. Now, like I said, at the beginning, this is time-consuming because you're not familiar with all the contents of the various foods you're eating. One thing I learned was if you can't recognize the ingredients in a food, either can your body. So you want to stick to things that are the closest to nature.
You don't
Okay.
want these long chemical names that you see on a label.
Right.
I would totally look for that, and I wouldn't buy that product.
Exactly. Try not to buy any heavily processed foods. You want as few ingredients in each item as possible. You want foods to be as close to their natural state as possible. Buy lots of fruits and vegetables, organic whenever possible, and buy plant-based milk. Eliminate dairy from your diet for one really important reason. Dairy products are hormones that were meant to feed a baby cow. And unfortunately, hormones affect your breast cancer, prostate cancer, cervical cancer. So if you eliminate foods that have hormones in them, you will definitely improve your health. Buy nuts and seeds, beans, legumes, lentils, grains, pasta, rice, quinoa. These are all healthy foods, and whenever possible, buy them organic.
I would say this too, that focus, if you're really brand new to this, focus on the big stuff, like no meat and no dairy products. That's the big stuff. If you can't buy organic here and there, it's okay. Don't get hung up on that. Eventually you'll become a more astute shopper the longer you get into this.
The only two foods I would really urge you to buy only organic would be soy products and corn, because from what I understand, about almost 100% of all those two products grown in the United States are genetically modified.
Yep.
And a lot of people are having health issues by consuming genetically modified organisms. Okay, now let's get cooking. Bob likes the 3 E's. You want to explain what that is?
Well, it's my only invention in this talk here. So the first E would be I would say it's easy, EASY. The first E. And what I mean here, and I think Fran can vouch for me here, is to keep things very simple.
At first.
Yeah, don't get real complicated. You get some really nice recipes online. You could do some pasta dishes or rice dishes that are easy and delicious, and they look great as well. The second E would be, as you progress a little farther, experiment. So Fran has experimented a lot, and 9 out of 10 times she comes up with a winner. I mean,
not too many losers.
No, we make a big deal out of our dinners, especially.
And we love to eat.
Yeah, so we've tried all kind of things, and most of them just have been fantastic. So once you get into it, experiment a little more. And then
one thing I want to add is, when you're eating a whole food plant-based diet without added oil, you don't have to count calories. You can eat you don't have to go hungry. I hear people saying they're always hungry. We're never hungry because we're both big eaters, but we don't gain weight because we're eating the right foods.
Yeah, and Fran eats like a truck driver, to be honest with you. The third E would be to just enjoy. And Fran is always, at a lot of the workshops we've done and talks and interviews, she's just tells people to make cooking a hobby. And it could be a hobby even if you are working, and you can do some batch cooking on the weekends. But make it a hobby instead of a chore. And we like you to even try to get your family involved in this and make it sort of a group lifestyle change.
I'm glad you mentioned working, because one thing you can do if you are working is you can make soups, curries, stews, casseroles, so that you have a meal that you can serve at 2-3 different dinners, or you can have dinner and then several lunches. You don't have to, be cooking all the time unless you want to. Now, another thing that we suggest is that you find a whole food plant-based support group, preferably in your area if that exists. If not, with Zoom, you can join a group just about anywhere. And this is a nice way of meeting and chatting with other people who are following a whole plant-based diet, getting ideas, getting support.
Inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of success stories, and that at first, when we first started, boy, hearing these stories from people on weight loss and how they've reversed disease, people reversing diabetes in 30 days, it is magical. It's a turn on for us.
Avoiding heart surgery, avoiding cancer surgery. These are not isolated cases. There's scores of people who have turned their health around. One thing we suggest is don't be too hard on yourself. If you cheat once in a while, get back on the wagon. Don't just give up. The only time we ask you to be really as strict as possible is if you have a serious health issue. But if you make a mistake now and then, get back on the schedule and you'll be fine.
I say this, by the way, I don't think it's a good idea to sort of force, to sort of, shout about it to people that this is what you're doing.
And don't criticize others who aren't eating as healthy as you.
And don't force it on other people, but just enjoy it yourself. And then when the time is right, you can then start spreading the word as to how much you've enjoyed and benefited from this eating lifestyle.
And more than likely, they'll see how your health has turned around or your weight has fallen off, and they'll ask you how you did it. So just let it play itself out. Don't worry about it. Now, there's one other factor that we want to mention. It doesn't involve food, but it's really important and part of this whole picture, and that's movement. Lately, they've come up with the saying that sitting is the new smoking, because so many people are sitting in their jobs, being home with the virus, because of the virus and all. It is really important to adopt some kind of an exercise program, because movement is extremely important. Also, it'll help you lose some weight if that's what you want to do, but it's really important for your whole digestive system, for your whole body. So we suggest you adopt some kind of a movement program, whether it's walking or hiking or biking or swimming or Tai Chi or Qigong or yoga. Even chair exercise is good for you.
There's some really good videos on YouTube for these things, along with, of course, our own YouTube channel.
Absolutely. So there you have it. Remember that what you eat is going to reflect on how you look and how you feel.
So we hope you enjoyed our little chat today. Pretty informal, but I think we've left a lot of little takeaways for you. Again, whether you're brand new or you're partly there, or you just want to recommit and start from scratch again, that's all good. And so I'd like to hear what you think about this, where you are on this path. So just leave some comments, if you will. If you like this video, give us that little thumbs up. And of course, please subscribe. And maybe this would be a very good video to share with other people who might be wanting some direction on eating a more healthy type of diet.
Right.
Bye-bye for now.